Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ZSR and welcome to the Z2R Max Random Tournament 2025. It's Swiss round number 3, and we have ghostDunk going up against Diane. And without further ado, because we are ready to get started, let's switch onto the layout and let's hand it off to our sole commentator, supported by Sheep number 1 and Slacker on tracking. Oh no, it's actually just Sheep number 1. Elendar, our commentator. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's going to be a good race. This is round 3. This is an 0-2 race, but everyone's making brackets, so just for seating and having some fun and getting used to the flags here. So should be a close one. I think these two runners are rated about evenly with each other, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of chaos and not the full 1 heart, 2 lives. Turned around and said spend 2 hours of GP nonsense. But we'll be off in just a second here, and we'll get to see what kind of chaos we get. Yeah, I mean, we definitely seen some really nasty GPs in some of the seeds this tournament, and here's hoping they're not too bad. But 2 lives is not a great start. At least we get 4 hearts, both stabs, and the boots on a 1-gemmer. Fairy and Thunder to start. Okay, so our runners have a lot of stuff. What they don't have is a good source of experience with only 1 gem to place. Also, the boots have limited use here in this mountainous west. We'll see if they're better elsewhere. Quick Raru find, but that's useless because they started with that spell. Fairy 95, very not castable. But definitely in a 2 lives, 1 gemmer, one of the first things that our runners are probably going to be looking for is a good source of experience. Some place they can grind, because if you don't take experience seriously and you're coming into GP with 2 lives and maybe like 3-4-4 on experience, that could be extremely painful. So we'll see if there is a good source of experience hanging out somewhere here on this west. Just a Palace 2, that's not going to have any Iron Knuckles. Although it looks like there's actually a decent number of little places here that the boots can help out on. We rolled a decent amount of water. Got a raft taking our runners off of the west, but no actual raft to use that tile yet. Got a rock block cave for ghostDunk. Looks like it's probably just a connector. Diane finding medicine cave, but at least 1 red Dyra hanging out. Now this might be one to murk down and come back to later. 1 extra magic container would be enough to cast Thunder. ghostDunk finds Saria, and it is regular fire, not like today. Okay, a life cast from Diane. Looks like it's at least vanilla. It's a good thing to see. And ghostDunk found the bridge off of this continent on the south side, but didn't end up taking it. So we'll see where that goes later. Medicine Cave had a magic container, so that's enough to cast Thunder. That's big. If you're looking to get some experience in, you can get east, find a encounter tile with a bunch of like high XP enemies, thunder them down, reset your magic, and a Palace repeat is a pretty decent farm. Orange Dire is only 50, and looks like that bridge did lead to the east. And probably a volcano, if I had to guess, just from the start here. Yeah, the overworld is randomized in a couple of ways. There's a few different biomes that control like generally what the shape of the terrain is going to look like. Which one of those we get is random, as ghostDunk finds 30, Diane finds 200. The winner on the P-Bag hunt there. And so, yeah, each of our different continents is going to have a random sort of overall structure and then more random generation from there. 5 containers required for Granny's basement in the east. So Diane would be able to get that ghostDunk with his early east, not going to be able to. Okay, so exactly 3 bars. So vanilla effectiveness on life, that can roll anywhere from 1 to 5, so. Okay, ghostDunk finds a child. And we didn't start with that spell, so that is going to be something. Just as soon as Darunia can be spotted. Meanwhile, Diane finding a bunch of caves, not a lot of items. Here's a connector, though. We are on the maze, and there's another cave off of it, pretty close. First item in the maze is a second container. ghostDunk, finds the lava encounters. And doesn't have enough to cast Thunder. Doesn't have a candle. Gonna have to be very careful navigating this with only 1 life left. Makes it through. Okay, it looks like this east might be just like big islands. When islands biome is used, it sort of splits the map into a number of columns between 2 and 4 and a number of rows between 2 and 4. And it's sort of like the start of the general structure of the islands. And so if you get 2 rows, 2 columns on the island, you can get what I like to call big islands, where it's islands, but the sections are pretty chunky. Okay, Maze Island has the GP. Okay, Desert Tile Sighting has a heart. Those are going to be at a premium for GP. As ghostDunk has found Risen P-Bag Cave. Doesn't want to check it out, though. Okay, other connectors. So there's 2 additional connectors on the maze. There's a raft we know takes back to the west, but we don't have the raft, and a second cave that at this point must lead to Death Mountain. So big things our runners still looking for. A decent source of experience, obviously, because both runners are still way too weak to attempt GP. A glove, not 100% required in Max Rando, but in the neighborhood of 90 to 95% likely to be required. It is a thing you can gamble on not needing, but you probably need it. And other than that, a lot of the other stuff is just nice to have. An any key would be a convenience. More heart and magic containers would be big pickups. Guaranteed to have 8 magic containers in the seed, but the number of lives is a random amount between the starting amount and 8. So there could be as many as 3 more containers out there, or as few as 0. And regardless of how many there are, I think both runners are going to want to find as many as they can. Diane takes a bop. See if she just cast. I would say just. I'm gonna go with life. I would say just cast Thunder here. Likely to kill the enemy in 1 hit, and you can pretty easily take him down otherwise. But okay, so that's a second heart. So there's 1 on the maze. There's 1 in the east. So low experience from a low gem count, and low starting lives are sad, but a lot of heart containers could definitely make up for that. And ghostDunk, having taken a game over, is now back in the west, and he's going to try and fight his way through Medicine Cave unsuccessfully. Does he have enough to cast Thunder? I see a lot of runners who, you know, you get into the mindset of thinking, oh, Thunder is for taking down Thunderbird. It's a thing that I need to pick up. It's, you know, a pretty good spell for that, and all of that is true. But when you get into like absolutely nasty caves like this, Thunder is like 100% just a tool for making your life easier. Like, don't be afraid. Just blasting Thunder in that cave is probably going to kill the Daira, if not take him down to very little health. It's going to kill all the Bogos. It kills all projectiles on screen. So Thunder will take down any stray rocks that are flying around. Just an all-around great tool if you can afford to cast it. And it's a lot better than dying. Because worst case scenario, you die and you get your magic up anyway. Yeah, it is 72 right now for both runners, but that's castable. It's not guaranteed to be castable at these low magic levels. A couple extra containers certainly helping. Okay, so ghostDunk finds his maze. He's going to get his heart container and magic container, which are going to be very welcome. Diane finds this sneaky little path all the way on the coast. It looks like it leads to the southern half of the west here. That may be the only route. I don't remember. I know ghostDunk was down here earlier, but this is Diane's first trip. And yeah, she was thinking about, you know, you don't need downstab. Both the runners started with it, but there's some hints here. And, you know, at the very least, we'll get to know where medicine is. Potentially some more information, though. Townsfolk being unhelpful thus far. Any of the townsfolk who are standing still can have a hint, as well as any of the walls that have things on them in vanilla. And, okay, medicine is in the east. So, with medicine in the east, ghostDunk had found water tile and desert tile already. We didn't see either of the new Kasuto spots. But we saw both item caves, so that means one of the Kasuto items is going to be medicine. And both runners going to do the thing that often happens at the start of these seeds. One player loops around one way, one player loops around another way. And we'll see them meet up at some point. I think there's still a little bit more to check in the east, but still not any kind of a good, efficient spot to farm XP. ghostDunk finds his way into Death Mountain. I don't think Diane spent any time checking this. Looks like it's vanilla-like, so it is pretty open. And ghostDunk takes approximately one look and decides, wait a second, DM sucks. Which is a correct opinion to have. But there are 2 items there. Unfortunately, only one of them accessible without a hammer, but one of them is the magic key, Diane finds out, so that'd be a good one. Technically, palaces are in logic right now. Fairy is castable, though at the current magic levels they have, it'd be real rough. Take basically your entire bar per cast. And with only 2 lives, it is actually quite a gamble to be going into palaces with only enough magic to cast Fairy twice. Like, in total, without taking a game over, because you need at least one to be able to complete the boss. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see runners either making a play for that magic key or doing a little bit of farming, getting some magic levels before making a commitment to checking palaces. It's wild we haven't seen like a 3 or 6 to check the Iron Knuckle farm on. That's the thing I'm really interested in here. If Iron Knuckles are like 150 or 200 points, then that's a good opportunity to just sit down and gain like, I don't know, a couple thousand experience. It's a little slow, but you need it somewhere, and better sooner than later. All right, so Diane finds the bridge to the east here in the south, but interested in clearing everything else out first. Makes sense. Ooh, yep, here's a good thunder screen. This could be our XP farm right here. But thunder is not being cast. ghostDunk, please cast thunder. Got 2 red Dairas and orange Daira on the same screen. And it looks like they're going to come down. Yeah, 200 apiece for those red Dairas, so that's a valuable screen. So whatever enemy encounter that is, that might be one that's a good XP farm. Looks like it's forest in the north. Okay, here's a grass tile sighting. Is this our first grass tile sighting? Oh, looks like it, because there's the glove. All right, that's key component found for ghostDunk. And that sort of puts ghostDunk into go-ish mode. Technically has everything that could be required in GP, though I suspect some more experience and maybe like a shield or jump is going to be highly desired in GP. The raft, not very useful, but I guess a little bit of a convenience. Our runners both already know how to get to the maze that raft leads to. Okay, 2 palaces down here. Here's P1, that's not that useful, but ghostDunk's gonna go into it. Okay. And Diane thinking about it, I would check that other palace. I'd be looking for a 3 or 6 for something to farm. Magos are a little bit difficult to fight, but they can be worth as much as 500. Looks like ghostDunk gonna take the opportunity. Isn't the easiest room to fight them in either with the extra fire, but there's 2 of them and they're spawning close. Well, they were spawning close. 500? All right, we get the full +2 on Magos. So here's a room right next to the start of the palace that just has 1,000 experience in it. Here's your grind if you want it. We'll see if ghostDunk just kills them once or decides to spend some time respawning them. Gets attack 4 at least. Right? So we're going to see the item in this item room, but not going to be able to access it. It's a flute. Do not want. Diane not looking like she's going to fight the Magos, and she doesn't have the gloves, so very quickly going to get rejected out of this palace. ghostDunk looking for life levels over magic. I feel like you really want both of those. But he is a quick early boss, and now the question is, do you place this gem yet or not? The sooner you place the gem, the sooner you can start going into GP, but the less experience it's going to be worth. Do you want to take just 20 points here? Or do you want to potentially do some more farming and then have it be worth more later? Diane gets rejected by that glove wall and needs to think about what she wants to do here. Okay, ghostDunk gonna try and fight this blue Iron Knuckle for some more experience. Not an easy thing to do, but makes it work. 70's gonna be good enough. Okay, so this makes sense for ghostDunk. He's gonna get up to where this level is gonna give him attack 5, and then either take attack 5 or use this to slingshot a couple life and magic levels. This is a pretty reasonable use of a gem. And that's going to be the one gem he needs to place. So GM, or GP, technically in the possibility for ghostDunk, I would want to get some more experience first. We'll see if he decides to do that or not. As one of those things of you, especially in Max Rando, you have absolutely no idea how long GP is. It can literally be that you go into GP and 2 rooms later you're fighting Dark Link and the seed's over. Or it could be a 60 room long GP that takes 30, 40 minutes to find your way through. And if it's the latter, man, you really want to have some extra experience. But we're at least going to get a sighting here. As Diane checks the west side of here and finally finds her gloves, so she's going to be able to either go back into one or select a different palace. First GP entered for ghostDunk, 2152. So when we go past an hour and 2152, we could blame this GP. This one is a star seed. It's not my fault. Oh no, it's not even a star seed. This is Trez's fault. Speaking of Trez's fault, here is a Thunderbird. Right off the bat, not necessarily required in Max Rando. Required Thunderbird is off, but Thunderbird's room is still counted like any other room. It can just happen to be that the only path through the palace goes through it. And I don't remember if there was a left or this is just hard required, but both our runners started with Thunder and had enough magic to cast Thunder pretty early, and also with Thunderbird being so close to the front of the palace, this is really a kindness in Max Rando, because it makes it so if you do die to Thunderbird, if you do take a game over, it doesn't really cost you very much time. You're going to be back here in 30 seconds. Versus a Thunderbird at the end of a very long path could be a huge time waster if you game over. But 6 bars life 3, I mean, even at full life here, I don't know if he's going to be able to survive a single hit. Thunderbird hurts. Yup. And Diane takes down Horsehead. She's going to be able to place her gem and have a consideration here about what to do, what experience. Houses do continue after the boss in this flag set, so you could go forward and try to fight some more enemies there, but nope. Diane also just going to place the gem right away and deal with the low experience. Yeah, so one of the fun things about Thunderbird is the way life levels work. Because the life levels don't actually control how much life you have. They control how much damage you take when you get hit. And so there are a bunch of tables for determining how much damage different enemies deal. And enemies that... Some enemies, like vertical bubbles, for example, always deal the same amount of damage no matter what. And so those aren't randomized. Those continue to do the same damage in the rando as they do normally. It's always just a static value. But there are 7 different tables for different enemy damage types that have a different value for each life level that gets randomized. And so certain enemies, you know, if one enemy in that group hits hard, then at a certain life level, then all the enemies in that group will hit hard. Thunderbird has his own group. Is the only enemy in the game in the Thunderbird damage type, and every single number on that chart is a lot. I believe there's a cap on it, so Thunderbird won't one-shot you at 8 bars, even on life 1. But 6 bars, yeah, not gonna be enough, and ghostDunk gonna spend some time acquiring experience here to make GP a little bit easier. Is there a chart somewhere to see it? No. I should at some time go and put that into the wiki, but there is not a copy of that chart anywhere. One of the things I would have to... Getting a copy of the chart is pretty easy. What I don't have is good documentation anywhere on which enemies deal which damage types. I don't know if that's readily on hand anywhere. That would be a thing that would be good to document at some point. Okay, so ghostDunk back in at life 4. And with the little bit of damage he took previously, still died in 1 hit. Maybe gonna be able to live a hit at life 4 with full life. We'll see. Diane, meanwhile, picking up some more spells. Gonna be a little bit safer. Here's a good one. The shield spell, almost certainly gonna make it so she can live through a hit from Thunderbird. And probably has enough here at 7 bars to be able to use Thunder and Shield. And yeah, ghostDunk finds out it's Oko Thunderbird and is reconsidering his options. Again, if you're looking for a good grind here, I know ghostDunk can't hear me, but ghostDunk found it earlier. I'd be farming those Magos at the start of P1. They're in the first room. There's 2 of them and they're 500 apiece. So you can get 1,000, walk out of the palace, walk back in to reset it in not too much time. And, you know, 1,000 points to run, you only need to do a couple trips through before you can get a couple extra life levels. And that's going to make a big difference. Especially at attack 5, the Magos probably aren't too many hits to kill. It is a little annoying that it's P1. If it were like a P3 or 6, you can optimize the farm even more by getting magic from the statue jar and then thundering the Magos down. But not going to be any refill in a P1 start. But ghostDunk just going to keep giving it some attempts here. hitless Thunderbird on attack 5 is the sort of thing that is not unreasonable. It's not easy, to be sure, but it's a thing that, as you become a more experienced runner, is a good thing to practice. Typically people will say 5, 6, 7 is, for a standard seed, about your expectation of how strong you're going to be coming into GP. So, just being here at attack 5 should be a thing ghostDunk can pull off with some attempts, and thankfully the attempts aren't going to cost too much. And Diane continuing to look at spells. I don't dislike continuing to look at spells here, right? Again, if ghostDunk had the shield spell, it would be extremely helpful. Reflect, probably not castable in addition to Thunder here at Magic 4, but, with a little bit, or Magic 3 even, but with a little bit of grinding could be useful. Let's see a Thundercast. Shield and Life, also good. Okay, I want to see what's in that P bag. Oh, okay, didn't get the P bag on the ground, but 700 from a different one, so this could also be a farm. We're getting 700 from larges here. Maybe find a little bit safer in the map, but if you find a map with good farmable large enemies here in the east, 700 bags are also going to get you there quickly. There are always 4 different P bags in any given seed based on the 4 vanilla values, the 50, 100, 200, and 500. And with shuffle P bags on, each of those bag types is going to be up to plus 2 or minus 2 experience levels on the experience chart. So 700 means that definitely was the 500 rolling a +1. And we've seen, I believe, 50s and 200 is probably a +2 on the 100. But definitely when you get those bags that are the 500 potentially rolling up, identifying if those are in the drop pool and if so where is a good call. Right. Okay, Diane gets a hint, go west to find the glove. Thanks. But gonna get 2 items here. One's gonna be the medicine, the other is a heart. So if Diane, well, I guess she hasn't seen the child yet here in the east, but I was gonna say you can make a correct determination if you want that this spell tower is just gonna have the medicine in it, but I don't remember what the medicine is good for, what that spell is. I guess we haven't seen a Fire and Reflect, I think, are the last 2 spells Diane doesn't have. Oh, Jump. Okay. That's right, she did. I think she did at least see Reflect. Jump is one of those spells that is actually quite good at GP. Yeah, so Diane picking up a lot of extra magic and heart containers. That's good, but still needs to find a good source of experience here. We talked about how a potentially 1 or 2 hit Thunderbird is going to be doable, but not easy on attack 5. At attack 3, it starts to get real rough. I know there are low percentage joyers out there, or RBO players or categories like that, where some summoners are very experienced fighting Thunderbird on extremely low levels. But unless you've practiced it a lot, it's very, very tricky. Okay, and ghostDunk gonna go back to GP here. Picked up a little bit of extra stuff. I don't recall if he got Shield Spell. That would be the biggest gain. Because just being able to cast Thunder plus Shield at the start. Another thing ghostDunk still has the possibility of doing is there's a left right at the start here. There's no guarantee that Thunderbird is required that this is the path. You absolutely could just go left at the start and say, you know what? I don't want to fight Thunderbird. Had quite a number of seeds recently in the tournament where there's a Thunderbird, and then the very next room, immediately after, is a dead end. There's nothing in the logic that specifically sets that up, but it can happen, and it is funny. Okay, Diane just trying to find something to squeeze out a level here. She's very close. Lava encounters, maybe not the best choice. Yeah, Diane just gonna ferry out and try for something better. Oh, yeah, ghostDunk trying to reset on the left. You can't do that one. If you're on the right side of the screen, the fireballs tend to despawn, and you are relatively safe to try and reset the pattern on the right. On the left, there is no safety whatsoever. If you are on the left side, you are probably just going to die. The only fireballs from Thunderbird that are likely to hit you if you're on the right side that you gotta be careful about are fireballs that came from the left and then bent right. But any of the ones that he throws while he's on the right side are not going to be able to hit you on the right. Okay, ghostDunk gets a little bit off pattern. He's about a tile early. Okay, gets it reset. This should be good. Get some nice 4-bangers. Okay, I like this from ghostDunk. Just reset if you're a little bit off. It's an easy 1, 2. Oh, an absolutely rude fireball. One thing that's tricky about Thunderbird is how many different kinds of fireballs he shoots. Some of them just go up and go down. Some of them sort of shoot off in random directions. And I believe one of the things Thunderbird does is, like a lot of enemies in this game, read your inputs and cheat and shoot fireballs where you are going to be. And so you gotta be careful sometimes to do some neutral jumps. Okay, so Diane has found a 3 or 6 here. Yeah, and this is what I was talking about before, right? Find a 3 or 6 and see how much the red iron knuckles are worth. They rolled +2. They're 200 points apiece. So you can absolutely farm the start of the palace for experience. But ghostDunk at it for another try. Little bit off pattern, might want to reset here. And yeah, that's the spooky thing when you get a little bit off pattern. You can have, especially if he's low coming into the corner, then he can sort of shoot a fireball at you from low, pointing right. Yeah, we're resyncing just a bit here, and ghostDunk has once again decided doesn't want to do that Thunderbird. Gonna look for a hammer cave and farm some experience on the way. This is probably what's happening here. See if hammer cave has something nice. And if not, you know, whatever. DM has a pretty steady stream of enemies you can kill. And 200 point bags in the pool. So Diane, in this 3 or 6, decided to just push through the palace a bit, looking for experience. Not an unreasonable play. We still haven't seen what the drippers are. Some good drippers would be a potentially good farm. We do have dripper shuffle on, so you can get some Mago drippers or Iron Knuckle drippers or something like that. And when you have drippers, for whatever reason, drippers always spawn the enemies with the same hit points as the thing they drip in the vanilla. So if you get like a Mago dripper or an Iron Knuckle dripper or something, they basically always just take 1 hit to kill and could just be an experience fountain. Okay, so ghostDunk gonna make it all the way to the east end of Death Mountain here. And there's some water there, which will give him a lot of freedom to explore. Still probably looking for Hammer Cave. Pretty good enemy rolls on a lot of stuff here in Death Mountain. Okay, so Diane gained 1 level, saved, decided didn't want to be in P3 anymore. So she's off to potentially GP for the first time. I don't think it's unreasonable. Again, either runner could, at any time, decide, you know what, Thunderbird's not for me. I'm just going to go left. There could be anything left, right? There could be 40 rooms of GP that were completely useless. It could be a down elevator that leads to Dark Link right away. We have absolutely no idea what is anything to the left. But we know what's right. It's Thunderbird. ghostDunk up to life 5. And I bet we'll see him look for life 6 as well before going back in. Of course, I am immediately made a liar. But we'll see if ghostDunk can live a hit at life 5. That's going to be the big difference, right? Can you live through a single hit from Thunderbird? Alright, so now Diana in approximately 20 minutes after ghostDunk's first attempt, but in that time, ghostDunk has basically accomplished the same thing Diane has, which is to leave and go get other stuff. Yeah, and I like this from Diane. You know, you took a long time to get in here. You're a little bit concerned. Go left, right? He doesn't know Thunderbird is right here. But I mean, what? Again, this elevator could absolutely just be Dark Link right here. It's not, but it could be. Oh, and this is the best. ghostDunk went out, got more life just to be able to potentially live through a hit, and instead just gets what was an absolutely clean Thunderbird. So yeah, I mean, just don't get hit, right? Okay, so now we've got a right versus left battle here in GP. Which way is going to lead to Dark Link? I have absolutely no idea. But I would say ghostDunk with a definite level advantage, an extra attack and an extra life level are going to be really big. But Diane has the shield spell, which is massive. And having some rude rooms, but we'll see. Yeah, she's just gonna go back left. I don't mind this. ghostDunk having troubles with the 4 block jumps. They suck. 44 for Fairy at Magic 3. Rough. Oh, and in the battle of right versus left, right is the winner. And with right being the winner, I suspect we are going to see ghostDunk also become the winner in just a little bit here. So get your GGs ready as ghostDunk mercilessly stabs himself in the knees and finishes this race with an official race time, 46 minutes, 52 seconds. And Diane reasonably has chosen to throw in the towel rather than force her way through the rest of this GP. We'll see if either of them are interested in coming in for an interview in a second here. But, man, this could have been just the absolute jettest of jet seeds. But Thunderbird, you know, being a jerk. This is what I was talking about on these 1-gem seeds, right? Getting a good source of experience until you're comfortable with what you're doing can make a big difference. We've got a ghostDunk here. Ghost, can you mute your audio real quick?
Sorry, I had to switch my my speakers and everything. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right.
And GG's, congrats on the win.
Thanks.
We'll have Diane in here in just a second, but how about that Thunderbird?
I could. It's really funny because it's like, wow, I have 6 heart containers. No problem. Life 4. Hey, it's still 1 hit. Okay, well, let me go try to find a shield. No luck. Let me try to grind level 5. Done. Oh, still 1. Actually, I'll never know because I go to grind level 5. I come back and I one-shot it. So
that's how it works, right? If you, like in all rooms, if you cast the shield spell, it makes you invincible. Because if you cast shield, you won't get hit. But if you don't cast shield, you're going to get bopped all over the room.
Yeah. I honestly, like, you know, if I'm better on my Thunderbird, I beat that seed in 20 minutes. So
yeah, and it's got Diane here as well. GG's making it through that mess.
Thanks, GG's ghostDunk.
Yeah, GG's.
Yeah, like ghostDunk was saying, that seed had the potential to be a ridiculous jet seed. You sort of started with a bunch of stuff. Love was available right off the bat, and GP was there, but Diane, I think, sensibly decided to go check a bunch more stuff, get shield spell, get some safeties. Ghost, you went into GP right away and died to Thunderbird a lot.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so when you entered GP for the first time, Diane, you were about 30 seconds, maybe a minute ahead of ghostDunk. And because ghostDunk had abandoned GP a couple times and also got some more levels. And it turned into just a left versus right battle. You went left, ghostDunk went right, back to Thunderbird again, took Thunderbird down, and unfortunately for you, it was just a couple rooms behind Thunderbird with Darklink.
Yeah, but there's one thing to note is I don't think I do Thunderbird with 4-4-4 like that. I took all the safeties I could, but I don't think I have the level, all of the skills yet to do that. So if I had reached Thunderbird, I don't think that would have been a great show. But I tried to get as much resources that I could in the world, basically.
Yeah, there weren't great spots to farm. One thing that you did, ghostDunk, that I'm kind of surprised you didn't farm was those 2 Magos right at the start of P1. You killed them. They were 500 points apiece, and they respawn when you reset the palace. Like, you could have farmed those.
Yeah, it's true, but like I've been trying to play more fast, and as sort of at I'm trying to challenge myself to a higher level, and I knew I could get attack 5 by the end of the palace, and so I was happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, you did it. It's just it's always a question of these one gemmer, like, theoretically quick. Max Rando sees, like, how safe do you want to be, and it worked out for you here. But I mean, it could have gone either way. Like I said, you and Diane on the last GP entry were very close to each other, and who knows, Darklink could have been 2 rooms to the left instead of 2 rooms to the right.
Yeah, I would feel very. I would. It would be very funny if I go through, do Thunderbird without getting hit, and then Darklink isn't even there. But that's that's Max Rando. That's why I like it. It's
that can happen.
It's a great equalizer, right? Like, you could be going in there and be able to do Thunderbird at 1-1-1, and if you didn't go left and Darklink was there, you still lose. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on anything else in this seed? I know GP was sort of the main star of the show here.
No, it was a fun seed, a pretty easy one in my taste, because I rolled a lot of 1 HP ones, which are and not 1 HP max, but 1 HP starts. And when you're not great at this game, when you're just starting, it's pretty rough to find spot to farm and stuff. But yeah, otherwise, just want to thank you guys for the restream, and GG's ghostDunk, and good luck moving forward.
Yeah, GG's Diane, same to you. And again, same. Thank you so much for restreaming. Always a pleasure to play.
Yeah,
All right.
and with that, thanks again, Trez, if you want to take us out.
Sure. I hope you all enjoyed what you saw. Big shout outs to our two racers, to ghostDunk and to Diane. And of course, to Sheep number 1 and to Elendar. It was a great race. It was a short one, but hey, that's the beauty of Max Rando. I hope you had a good time. If not, let us know. If so, let us know as well. That makes us happy. And that's it for now. We might be back with more restreams later. Depends on the volunteer situation. For now, until then, thank you all so much for watching. Have a good evening and bye bye.